Okay, I've made some changes to the deck, and I'm going to run through another league with modern Merfolk. Alright, game 1. This hand has potential, so I'm going to keep it. Depending on how good Force of Negation and Unable to Scream are, this hand could be really good. I played another league earlier today that I didn't record because I was so disgusted with how badly I played in the first 2 rounds, I just turned it off. However, I did end up going 3-2. I lost to Belcher and Vengevine. Looks like opponent is playing Energy, so this Unable to Scream might be pretty good. I think I'm just going to shut that down. Alien is a creature type. Merfolk. Okay. And I'm just going to shut this down before he starts accumulating energy. So this matchup doesn't seem like the best because we're both creature decks, but he can make more creatures than I can. But we're dodging, it looks like a 2-drop. So that is tremendous. I think what I'll do is play the Otawara and pass. I'll leave up Tiebinder and Drowner. I don't want to run Sphaloon out yet without any other creatures. Cannot counter that, so Unable to Scream has been rendered pretty bad. Now I can Tidebinder and get the trigger though. So he'll attack, I'll block with Tidebinder. And then he won't get to blink his Guide of Souls. I was hoping more I could get a land with Tiebinder, but this is going to have to do. Oh, okay. And then we'll block the Thalia. Because this trigger... Oh, no, actually, I don't think I need to block because... Well... I think I'm going to block because I don't want him to get this ability back if he draws a lightning bolt. And he has the bolt anyway. Do I force this? That is a 3-for-2 in favor of my opponent if I force this. But this Master of the Pearl Trident is not looking very good. So I'm actually going to ditch it. I say it's not looking very good because I don't have any way to make his lands islands yet. And before he can draw another Lightning Bolt or Static Prison, I'm going to get rid of that. He should be out of things to do. Okay, he's got a Parlor. Harbinger of the Seas would be a terrific draw. Wow. My dad actually works at Magic Online, so he just rigs all my draws like that. This might prompt a concession. Oh, he's got his basic mountain. Huh. Wow, I guess it was... My dad doesn't work there anymore. Must have lost his job. Alright. That was an emotional turn sequence. But another island here is pretty good. Yeah, there we go. So whichever of these timestamps is more recent is the one that takes over. See, this is a mountain now. I'm going to hold back and just block with Sphaloon. I don't think I'm the beatdown yet. I have better creatures in play. We both have 1 card in hand. And he doesn't have white mana. So this Blood Moon is actually at this point hurting him more than me. There's a Goblin Bombardment. All my Merfolk have Ward 1 besides Spaloon. And now I can give this thing indestructible at flash speed. I will be attacking with Spaloon, and then I'll be going after that mountain with Tide Shaper. I still don't think I want to attack with Harbinger yet. A little late for that Force of Negation. And then he should sacrifice this and ping me. Yep. Pings me. Oops, those are both mountains. So he has to sacrifice. Well, he can't because it has Ward 1. So he doesn't have a window there where he can sacrifice. And we have Force of Negation up if our opponent somehow has a non-creature spell. I'm not going to let him hit me because that would give him a treasure token. All right. And we get a free win thanks to Harbinger and his own Blood Moon. All right, so what do I want? I want Spreading Seas, I think. And I think I want Chalice of the Void on 1. I put Chalice of the Void in the deck because I thought it seemed like it might have some utility in Modern because of, obviously it's good against free spells. And then also all of the, like, Faithless Looting decks are playing so many 0 and 1 mana creatures that I thought Chalice of the Void might be good again. What don't I want? Even though he has Failure, I still want some Unable to Screams. Guess I'll go down on 1 Aether Vial, 1 Unable to Scream. Is there anything else I want? Do I want to trade these Hex Catchers out for the Lord of Atlantis? I'm not really sure. I don't think so. And then on the draw, do I want Flare of Denial? I don't think so. I think we need to be a mana disruption based strategy. There's a Spreading Seas, but only 1 land. If I draw a land, this hand can really take off. If I don't draw a land, I can still subtlety and kill some things. On the draw, I'm going to keep. This is a sketchball keep. I'm not going to subtlety his first play because I can get it no matter what with Dismember. He gets the Pride. And I have to remember, I'm going to hold up. Nice, that was such a good draw. I'm not going to Dismember yet. I'm going to wait till his second main phase to see if I can get a better creature. I don't mind taking this 1. And I do have a stop set in his second main. He's incentivized to play Guide of Souls now. A Johnny Nicodle Pariah. See, I'm glad. Man, am I glad I called that guy. We do pay 4 life here for this. And he's still going to end the turn with 2 cats in play. Maybe I should have taken out these Force of Negations. Maybe that's the card that I want. Yeah, because he's running away with the game here. I think I want to go after that. No, that's the wrong spell. I'm going to Spreading Seas. And then maybe I can build a comeback here. I'm going to take a lot of hits from these little creatures. If I hadn't If I hadn't waited, he'd have an Ajani in play, which I think would be worse for us than where we are now. Yeah, this is a really, this is a rough hand. So if I go Chalice on 1, we go into play the land tapped. Chalice on 1. And just hope I can rebuild. Maybe I can double spell. If I draw another land, I can Master of the Pearl Trident into a flash block with Flood Pitch Drowner. And I have Force of Negation for a Goblin Bombardment, if one is to come up. This turns off his removal spell, both of his removal spells. If I just lose this game really badly anyway, I kind of regret playing the Chalice, because then he'll bring something in for it. But it's possible he brought in Artifact Destruction anyway, expecting us to play Aether Vial. I'm freestyling, guys. I'm not the Merfolk master. Also, it's a shame we couldn't nab that Arena of Glory, because that's very threatening. He can Flage here if he wants. It'll cost him his Arena of Glory for a turn, but he could cast Flage. Chain to the Rocks, yeah. He doesn't want that. So I don't think I'm quite dead next turn. Oh no, I forgot the subtlety. Alright. Alright, well that was a pathetic ending to that game. I forgot to use the subtlety that was in my hand. Alright, on the play, I like that construction. Jeez, this is why I didn't record, or this is why I stopped recording the last match, because I forgot what my cards did. Alright, I'll try it. Well, this is a very unexciting hand, but it is lands and spells. I'll keep. I have an Unable to Scream. Aether Vial could do something eventually, one day. And then I can get his mana turn 2. So if he doesn't have a turn 1 play, or if his turn 1 play is not very strong, I think if it's a Ragavan, I'm going to Unable to Scream that. For my lesson about letting the cat run off with the game. They really should have just packaged this deck and sold it as a Modern Horizons 2 Precon, because that's what this deck is. Unable to Scream, you are. That just slowed him down. Then hopefully we draw some Merfolk. Have a lot of good draws in our deck. So there's a Sacred Foundry, and he didn't play anything before combat. Looks like he's holding up Thalia. Use the ability. Alright, Force of Negation was not what I wanted to see. I think I have to do this. I think I'm priced into it at this point. Because Sink into Stupor bouncing Thalia is not even that good. Okay. That is a good draw. That gives us something to do next turn. Okay, here comes Thalia. So he's going to get rid of the Ocelot Pride. I don't think that ditching 2 cards to counter that was what I want to do. There's a Static Prison. I do want to force that. I need my Aether Vial. So he can Thalia, well, shoot, he can bounce my Aether Vial anyway. And there's another Static Prison. I can at least cast Spaloon next turn, and it's a reasonable blocker. And I realize that Unable to Scream is a rough card against Thalia decks, but I thought it might slow him down enough. He didn't gain any life. I'm going to play the Sync. And I'm just going to hope that this is enough. He can bounce this to give himself a free attack. Or he can bounce the cat. If he allows me to block the Pride, I will. Yep, looks like he's just going to bounce Spaloon. It'll come back on his end step, so I'll be able to attack with it. And the next turn I'll have a Flash blocker available. Well, this might still be the best deck in Modern. These creatures are so good. Like, when I started playing Magic, to get creatures that did all this, you'd be paying like 4 or 5 mana. Okay, there's another Spaloon, which is one of the only cards that's a bad draw at this point. And I can't take that big of a beating. So I'm going to leave back Spaloon, force him to bounce it, and then hopefully get him with a Flash block with Subtlety. If I were him, I don't even know if I'd pay for that Static Prison. It might be worth it just to have the energy around. Alright, this is pretty good. I can block a Johnny. So I can at least hopefully get rid of that Planeswalker threat. He has 4 cards in hand, though. I mean, good lord. Take a beating here, but a Johnny goes away. We're down to 7. He has another Ajani, of course. Ajani might be my least favorite card in Modern to play against. That is way too good of a Planeswalker for 2 mana. And I don't have any Pyroclasm effects. Okay. I don't see this game going anywhere that I want to go. I will attack with Spaloon. There's a Harbinger of the Seas. It's too late for that. Maybe I should have mulliganed to just dig for a Harbinger to try to cheesy the win out. That flips a Johnny. Actually loses an unnecessary cat there, but it's okay. Round 2 with Merfolk here in Modern. This is a 1-lander Aether Vial hand. 2 Flood Pits Drowners. I'm not going to keep this because Flood Pits Drowner requires a good amount of mana to be an effective card, and this is much better. We can put back one of these unnecessary Harbingers. And I'm going to lead on Island. I thought about leading on Mutavault in case we want to attack with it on turn 2. But with this Spaloon and this Harbinger, I want to get my blue set up. This looks like Through the Breach, or not Through the Breach, Underworld Breach. I will play Mutavault now. And now we have a third land. We can use Sink into Stupor, potentially on a turn where they try to go off with Breach to bounce the Breach. Or it could just be Affinity. Yeah, Meticulous Archive makes this look more like just normal Affinity. I've also seen a Hammer Time blue-white deck playing Mox. Oh, yeah, I think I remember this guy's name, Boolandy. I think he's playing Hammer Time Affinity. How's this hand against that? I guess it's decent. Harbinger's not going to be an all-star. He bins a Grafdigger's Cage. That tells me he has Urza Saga in his deck, which hopefully we're able to get here. Mutavault gave away our plan. But I also think just playing 2 of these matching full art islands would also give away our plan, because I'm convinced Merfolk players have the most particular islands. And I've just noticed that most Merfolk players have a specific full art island, and that's all the islands in their deck. So when I see, usually if I see one kind of specific looking full art island, I assume it's Merfolk. All right, he rebukes. No, I'm happy he did that, because now I have free reign to play. I'm going to start with Stalloon, because that might bait out an Urza Saga. And then I can get the Urza Saga. I realize I have no creatures for the Stalloon. However, against blue-white, if he has a removal spell, it's probably going to be like an exile spell anyway. So the indestructible part doesn't matter. Nettle Cyst, Living Weapon. So we can bounce the Germ token. Equip to, it might make more sense just to bounce the Nettle Cyst itself. But I'm going to start each artifact and enchantment you control. Going to start with a Cavern of Souls, naming Merfolk. And playing an uncounterable Harbinger of the Seas. Leaving my blue mana open in case I draw Tide Shaper. We draw another Flood Pits Drowner. Not the most relevant card in this matchup, but just drawing more things to cast is pretty good. Opponent's in a rough way now. They can't play any Urza Sagas until they get rid of those Harbinger of the Seas. And they don't have white mana currently. One more artifact and they'll have Metalcraft for Mox Opal. Also, Flood Pits Drowner is a really disturbing piece of art. It's got these weird hands that have like, I can't even tell what's going on. It's little dolphin snout, beak, whatever you call that thing on a dolphin, is all bloody, like it was just eating a body. Like, I know this is from Duskmoor and House of Horrors, I think is what it's from, but oh my gosh. I'm almost not okay with this artwork. It's a little bit much. Gonna name, well, that's just Island. I think I'll just attack with Stalloon again. I could have Flood Pits Drowner to tap the Nettle Cyst token, but I like just leaving up all my mana here. He draws planes, so if he has a removal spell, he's only got one, and that's his only opportunity. Actually, I think I'll tap that with, well, Actually, that's going to turn on Metalcraft. So do I care if I give him a turn with that Mox Opal? No, I don't think I care. I think I'm instead going to take this opportunity to put 2 more creatures in play, and then I can unable to scream something and or sink into Stupor next turn. I'm surprised he's attacking. That only does 3 and it doesn't have lifelink. In his end step, I'll cast Flood Pit's Drowner, which does not trigger Esper Sentinel because it's a creature. Flood Pit's Drowner looks like a dolphin. Doesn't really look like a merfolk. And dolphin is a mammal. I guess I don't really know if a merfolk is a mammal or a whatever the other option is. And I'm just going to get all my creatures in play. Target nothing. How much damage does this do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we put him to 3. He's going for something here. He Autowaros. That's fine. Probably should have done that before combat. Now I can Tide Shaper, get the planes, and bounce that so he doesn't have Metalcraft. So this is a little bit less aggro of a plan, but it disrupts him a little bit more, which I think is important. Although I think he's just an Affinity Snowball deck. So I think setting him back at all is always good. I don't think he has like a combo finish that he's threatening here. I think he would need red mana for that. See, he's trying to make white mana, but he can't. He needs another artifact in play. Yep. I think his decision to attack with Nettlecyst last turn was probably not correct. All right. I'm going to bring in Chalice on 1. I'm bringing in a lot here. What don't I want? I'm going to take out the Aether Vials. And I still need to take out 6 cards. To me, this looks like Hammer Time, so he probably just didn't draw his Hammer Time stuff that game. Flood Pits isn't as good. Voldaren, not really that good. Lord of Atlantis, not the best. Just kind of trimming things around the edges here. Because I'm bringing in Flare, I guess I don't want another Force. His creatures are pretty cheap, so I don't know how much I want Subtlety. Yeah, just kind of trimming here. Okay, this hand doesn't have everything I want, but it's got an Unable to Scream, so I could slow down a what's it called, Esper Sentinel. And he doesn't have an Esper Sentinel turn 1. That's very nice for us. Also, I don't know why it's called Esper Sentinel when it's white. There's 2 other colors involved in that, with that word. This hand's not the best. Maybe I should have taken out more lords. Because I don't really think this is... I mean, Lord, I guess, gives you the option to just flood the opponent. But I brought in a lot of non-creature spells, and I took out a few creatures. So maybe if you're going down on Aether Vials, you just also go down on Lords. Okay, he puts Thopter Foundry in the graveyard. So he's playing Thopter combo. Does this have a triggered ability? Yeah, but not from the battlefield. No, it just doesn't have a triggered ability. This is unfortunate. Alright, so I need to leave the Force of Negations in. I misread what our opponent was doing. I can't deny him blue mana, but I can deny him white mana a little bit. I mean, he has blue-white no matter what I go after there. Now he doesn't have double white. There's Sword of the Meek. Yeah. Well, whenever a 1/1 creature enters under your control, you return Sword of the Meek from me. So I brought in the wrong artifacts. I should have brought in... I mean, I have to counter this. Otherwise, I just lose. And then we can counter this triggered ability once. But the problem is, I think Tishana's Tiebinder, it only deprives that ability if it's on the battlefield. Doesn't deprive it if it's in the graveyard. We'll just leave up Tiebinder here. Maybe he's out of things to do. I mean, we can Tiebinder, bounce something, Lord. Thopter Foundry, I don't mean any ill will towards players that play this deck, but this is the most boring combo deck ever. There's an Urza. Create a 0/0. That'll be a 2/2. So it won't trigger the sword. Alright, so if I Tiebinder this, I'm going to Tiebinder the trigger, and then it'll lose all abilities. So it'll still be able to block, which is a little bit annoying. Now, one thing I can do is attack, he can block, and then I unable to scream. Which is probably as good of a use as I'm going to get from unable to scream. Alright, there's a Force of Negation. I like that. Glad I didn't take all of them out. I didn't really know what to bring in or take out against this matchup, so I just kind of trimmed around the edges. Let's scream. He can make some big artifacts. I don't mind that. And then hopefully he just taps out for something that we can counter. He will not be blocking, hopefully, this Tidebinder. Alright, he's got another land. He might be a little flooded. On his end step, I want to bounce that. And because it's still his turn, I can Force of Negation. And if he makes an Urza Saga token, it's going to be a 2/2. No, it's going to be a 3/3. Looks like he's trying to counter this somehow. Here comes Sword of the Meek. Does he have the combo here? I forget what this deck does. I think he only has as many creatures as he has mana. So he can make some creatures here, but then now if I draw a land, I can go Lord of Atlantis, get my Tiebinder unblockable, and I might be able to win a race because Thopter Foundry is going away. So I need a land here. That was a good one. My dad had got his job back. And we attack with an unblockable 4/3. We will need... Oh, he was gaining life somehow, too. Yeah, Thopter Foundry gains life. As if that card wasn't annoying enough to play against. Now he can go get a... Well, that's a big artifact. So, probably not winning this game. I'm not sure. Let me know if you think I could have played this game different. I definitely could have sideboarded better. But as for playing it, I'm not sure. So what I definitely want is the Relics of Progenitus. That's an easy change. Force that. He can't combo this turn now. Unless he drew another one, which he didn't. And he gets in there. So now I think I just... What do I want? Lords? Not the best. Yeah, this game's not looking the best. But if he has a less than lethal attack next turn, maybe I can draw another Lord off the top and win. No, I don't think that would be enough. It would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 next turn if I draw another Lord. So yeah, I'm going to just concede the game. Maybe that was a little premature. I could have drawn another bounce spell. I don't want Aether Vial. I want Relic of Progenitus. I don't want Chalice. Because I'd have to go to 2 mana, which would cost 4. He's only got blue and white. I want Force. I don't need this many Harbingers. I think I don't want any subtleties. His only creature was Esper Sentinel, and it's really just a combo piece. I think we saw that game we do want Lord of Atlantis'. Really, I'm just trying to stall out for a little bit. I like this hand. And then set up a big attack with Island Walk. And this hand could do that. Chalice on 0 would have been nice, but alas, we didn't have that card. We have Force of Negation and Relic of Progenitus. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. And next turn, hopefully we have a land for that Urza Saga. Stoneforge Mystic, that... This deck attacks us on a lot of angles. I decided to take out creature removal. Let's see what he gets. Does he go straight for the Sword of the Meek? No, he goes for Cauldron Complete. Maybe we could have waited on Relic. Because now he's just got a beatdown plan. We'll go to 2 on our vial. That's a good draw. I'll play one of the Harbingers. And make him exile that card from his graveyard. So he doesn't have enough artifacts right now for Metalcraft. Stoneforge, he can't use. It costs white mana. He doesn't have that yet. And if he casts a Thopter Foundry here, I think I'll force it, pitching the Harbinger. Use the ability to put Lord in play. Not the Singer, but go to 3. I'll play that land as well. And I'll attack with both. If he didn't attack last turn, he's not going to block this turn. And at this point, I think I'll force anything that goes on the stack that I can force. Because he needs artifacts in play. He does nothing again. I will put another Harbinger into play. And now I'm done with Aether Vial. It's a lot of lands. It just feels so good getting, what is that card called? Urza Sagas. Just any way you pick off Urza Saga just always feels great. He gets another island. I don't think I needed to force the Nettle Cyst here. But I said I was going to force anything on the stack that I could force. And we win. Nice. I'll see you guys in round 3. It's round 3. We are live from the aquarium. This hand has major clunk going on, but I'll keep it. It's got 2 lands. That's probably the main skill that I don't have with this deck, is having the discipline to mulligan. Windswept Heath into nothing. Unfortunately, I just have to run out the Master. Windswept Heath into Shadowy Backstreet. So the Backstreet boys are back. All right. Overlord of the Bailmark. So this is probably another Phalia deck. Yeah, Ephemerate, Overlord. And I can't force that. I could have maybe subtletied it. But he didn't get any creatures. And I can actually hold on to the Tidebinder and counter that final ability. Let's Tideshaper with Kicker. Take out the Backstreet Boys. And attack. And now we've got Subtlety and Force. And I'm going to pitch this Unable to Scream if I'm able, because it's bad in the face of Ephemerate. I will Subtlety, pitching, Unable to Scream. And then also next time that comes down, we can Stifle the Trigger. Potentially, with Harbinger. A land here would be swell. Another Subtlety is not necessarily the worst. Although, I mean, I really would like to hit lands. We are attacking him fairly low. I think at this point I'll subtlety. Well, we'll see what he does. I think I'll subtlety pitching Force of Negation now. And he's really low on, but he's out of things to do. So, I mean, maybe this final subtlety will just, he'll try to cast that again and we'll just win the game off the back of 3 subtleties. There's a Drowner. That's also pretty good. That's a castable spell, so we can double spell next turn. By next turn, I mean on his turn. Lands are overrated. Goodbye. And if he has an Ephemerate in hand, he never even gets to use it. Plays the Bogart Bog. And plays a Charming Prince. What is he targeting? He's gaining 3 life. Okay. Not sure what his plan was. There's no world where that Charming Prince gained 3 life was going to win the game. No, don't concede game. Attack with all creatures. All right. Question here is, do I want Aether Vial? I don't think I want Consign. He had basics, so I don't think I want... Well, he actually had a lot of non-basics. Maybe I want Spreading Seas. I don't think I want Force of Negation. I think I'll trade Force of Negation for... Voldaren, Flare of Denial. That's a no-lander. That's a 1-lander with 3 lords. I think we can do better. Oh, no. That's a no-lander. Okay, I'll keep on 4. The cards I want to keep are Island, Aether Vial, Silvergill, and Flood Pits, I guess. I need this Aether Vial. I know it's card disadvantage, but I need the Aether Vial because I can't guarantee I'm ever going to draw land, but I could hit a hot string with Aether Vial. If I draw another land, the Aether Vial is looking kind of bad, and I draw it. All right. Well, when you go to 4, you're asking a lot out of any deck. The Mana Denial plan would be quite good. There's Stoneforge Mystic. And you bend a Tide Hollow Sculler. Sword of Fire and Ice. So we're pretty much, I think, just going to take our beating in this game. I'm going to cast Silvergill, Reveal, Flood Pits. By the way, I'm playing 1 Silvergill Adept. I know that's not very standard right now. I just wanted to try it out. Yeah, use the ability. Okay. Alright, this hand could do something. I'm going to attack. I'm assuming he only has that one equipment in hand. Yeah, he's got Sword of Fire and Ice now. If he spends his next turn equipping and attacking, I could bounce one of these... Or I can tap the Stoneforge before combat. He knows about Flood Pit's Drowner. I kind of don't like that play from him. Because I revealed that Flood Pit's Drowner when I cast Silvergill Adept. So I don't really like that play from him. There's a Lion Sash. Okay. Counter target non-creature. Unfortunately, Lion Sash is a creature while it's on the battlefield. And rather than surprise him in combat, I'm going to play the Voldalian now. Voldalian, sorry. It's like a Voldalian, like a Vandalia onion. All right, I'm going to go up to 3. Let's see what we draw. Ooh, Tiebinder's great. I'll tell you what, I will attack, I think, with everybody here. He's not going to block. I strongly doubt he blocks. He does block, okay. I don't mind getting rid of this Lion Sash. I wasn't super reliant on that happening. Why can't I use Flood Pit's Drowner? This has a stun counter. Why can't I use... Oh, it has protection. All right, from blue and from red. That makes sense. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. That's still tapped. You can tell it's been a while since I've seen Sword of Fire and Ice. Our opponent's floating out. They have nothing to do. So on their end step, I'm going to bounce. No, this still has protection for blue. I'm going to bounce the sword. He has Solitude, so I can counter Solitude's ability. So it's going to lose lifelink. We're going to answer no to this. Hopefully we draw another creature. That's kind of like another creature. And I'll attack with everybody. I think trading any of our creatures for Solitude is good. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay. Mutavolt's kind of like a creature. He has Sword. Maybe I played this wrong. Combat damage to a player. Okay. It doesn't gain him life, though. So he's taking 4 next turn. 6 if I draw a Lord. Aether Vial's meaningless at this point in the game. Floodpit's Drowner gives him... It can't tap that creature, but I can attack him for 4 and leave up Floodpit's Drowner. So he's going to... When he attacks, he's going to shoot Silvergill with Sword. Then if he's played another creature, I can tap it with Floodpits. And hopefully attack for lethal. If you heard that, that was sparkling water being poured into a cup. Alright. Silvergill did its job. On a mull to 4, it drew us a card and arguably won the game if we win. Ooh, okay. Well, let's see what he gets. Recruiter is a fantastic play from him. Probably gets a Solitude here. Unless he used his only one. A Charming Prince, okay. Okay. Flash this in, tap the Prince. He ephemerates. I think I've seen just about enough of this game. He goes to 6. Gets another Recruiter. He's going to probably get a Solitude with that. No, he picks up another Charming Prince. So he only has 1 Solitude in the deck, it looks like. Well, we got close with 4 cards. We'll see what we draw. Oh, I should have tapped it differently in case I drew a Lord. But he's going to ephemerate that Charming Prince. Yeah, okay, I've seen enough of this game. I didn't make any sideboard changes. Still the same as last game. Oh, man. This is a... Well, this has at least 2 lands. I'll keep this, and hopefully the Mana Denial plan is good. The problem is we have these Lords that don't really do anything. But we do have 2 lands. Opponent mulligans. The game that we won in this matchup, we won because of subtlety. I'm going to start with the Seas. Hopefully this disrupts him. Into another Spreading Seas, so we have potential here. The problem is he's a blue... No, he's a black-white deck. I was thinking of the last player. The last opponent. Alright, a 1-lander. Mana Disruption at any price. Here, I'm going to hold up Floodpit's Drowner. They find Witch Blessed Meadow, but that's not probably going to be enough, at least temporarily, to get them out of this. Really needed a play there. I'm surprised he didn't have a play. After all, he paid 3 life for it. Start with a Spreading Seas. So he can blink his yeah, let's counter that for now. Should have seen that coming. So if he doesn't have another white mana, then he's not getting that dog back. No dog for you. I'd be really sad if someone took my dog. Maybe that was a mean play. I was hanging out with my dog today. I have a Japanese Spitz. And rather than play the Aether Vial, let's just beat down. This brings me back to used to play Jund Living End in Modern, and there were some games, even on this channel, you can go back and see that you just destroy your opponent with full mana mages. For good measure, I'll tap the artifact. No. And Subtlety does it again. 4 subtleties wins the match. Okay, round 4. Oh, we're playing against Mike DeVoe. So I think this is Prison Mike. Mike DeVoe, I'm pretty sure he's got a YouTube channel under that same name where he plays prison decks. Do I want to keep this knowing we're probably up against prison? This is 4 lands. If I sound out of breath, I just did a round of working out. Unable to Scream and Dismember are useless, so assuming he's on a prison deck, I'm going to keep this. Putting back Unable to Scream. Well, let's see. Maybe this is a different guy. He's playing Utopia Sprawl. Let's go ahead and Force of Negation that. Pitching another force. Seeing a forest makes me think he's playing creatures, and so Force of Negation probably not the best. Unable to Scream. Don't know what to say. I don't think I want that card. I really just want lands at this point. Eldrazi. So it looks like he's playing perhaps Broodscale combo. Talisman of Curiosity. Can't do anything about that. If I draw a land, I'll go after that Eldrazi Temple, obviously. Because I can't take him off of green mana now. Well, that stinks. I'm just going to cast this. Tide Shaper. Now I'm very far behind in mana. Alright, here with round 5 for the 3-2 and all the marbles. If Subtlety is a good hand, then this is a good card in this matchup, then this hand is great. Weird basic island. See, that's what I'm talking about earlier. Whenever you see a very specific basic island, it's almost always Merfolk. So this looks like the Fish Mirror. My first time playing the Fish Mirror, and we draw the worst card. I guess the good news is we can't even cast it yet. We can Unable to Scream if he has a problematic permanent, such as a Merfolk. And if he were to Tide Shaper this Mutavault, I'm not sure that would even be bad for me. Got some Merfolk on Merfolk violence here. Go to the aquarium. You didn't expect to see fish fight. Ooh, we got that dog in us now. Sorry, that fish in us. I'll play the cavern. And take out his Mutavault. He doesn't play Subtlety. I'm going to attack. If he's able to play his own Tide Shaper with Aether Vial, that's fine. Because I have Lord of Atlantis in play, anything that reduces his creature count is... Well, I don't have it in play, but anything that reduces his creature count I think is good. Because Lord of Atlantis can backfire horribly. Lord of Atlantis is other Merfolk, so that includes the entire battlefield, not just your side. Whereas Master of the Pearl Trident is just your side. Some Merfolk 101 for anyone that didn't know. Does he activate Aether Vial? I always activate it. He dismembers end step. That's fine. I'd much rather he dismember that than my Spheloon, which is coming down next turn. Goes up to 2. On the Aether Vial. Plays an Otawara. And Harbinger of the Seas. So that's a very symmetrical card. Do I Subtlety that? No, I don't think I do. I think I can get a creature clean with Subtlety. Alright, so what I can do here is when his Aether Vial puts its ability on the stack, its triggered ability, not its activated ability, I can shut it off with Tishana's Tidebinder. So I think I'll do that. And I'm going to continue attacking. Alright. CB, Lord of Atlantis, other Merfolk. See, that's what I'm talking about. He can't block with it. And so now, actually, because he started the Lord fight, I'm going to slow him down and play my own Lord of Atlantis. Wait, does that make any sense at all? Well, I have to do it now. I don't have anything else to do with my mana. This did turn off a creature. And then I can get the Aether Vial again on a future turn with Tidebinder. He stays at 2. He doesn't have any 3s in his hand. He does the same exact play as me. How funny. There's another Aether Vial. That's probably kind of irrelevant. Well, not really, because... So I'll take the 2. So nobody has Island Walk. There's an island. That's pretty good. I'm going to continue attacking because I can get a Subtlety in play now, which will give me an unblockable creature with or without Island Walk. This game's pretty funny. I think both of us might be blundering a little bit. But with more cards in hand, I should be able to pull this out. Actually, do I just want to... No, because both of these Aether Vials have the opportunity to go to 2. I don't care. He only has 1 card in hand. Aether Vial's not very threatening with 1 card or 2 cards in hand. Especially when I'm even in creatures, about to be ahead, and ahead in life. I'm not going to block. Actually, yes, I am. I'm going to block that with Subtlety. He never has to cast a creature for the rest of the game. And he can't Subtlety in a Subtlety because he's only on 3 with Aether Vial. So here's the question. Do you want Aether Vial in the Merfolk Mirror match? I don't know. My hunch is no. He could play Dismember here to save himself from losing a creature. He sinks it. Okay. Not the end of the world. It got a card out of his hand. I'm still winning the damage race. Although, he can... I can't assume that this Tide Shaper is going to connect anymore. I want to get Stalin in play. I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to attack now. And if I draw my own Sink into Stupor, I could bounce Unable to Scream to reactivate Island Walk. Opponent is Aether Vial floated. That's a little bit unfortunate. For him, not for me. It's very fortunate for me. I'm glad I didn't waste this Tidebinder on an Aether Vial. There's Unable to Scream. That will open up the ability to attack with Mutavault, but I think I'm just going to attack with Stalin here. He can put in his own Stalin, which will be indestructible. However, if he does that, I can then Unable to Scream it after it blocks and cause it to perish. He does not play anything. Seeing as that is the case, I'm also going to do nothing and leave up my flash creatures. Now he's got to do some Aether Vial trigger management. So I won this game not because I think, well, if I win, but not because I have better skill, just because my hand shaped up way better. Which, that's kind of how Merfolk feels to me in Modern. It's definitely not the best deck. It's pretty good because it's blue, and all the best cards in Modern are blue. Modern is basically just Legacy and Vintage now. Where you pitch free spells at each other until somebody runs out of cards. Merfolk feels like a game where some of your games are unlosable and some of your games are just unwinnable. Like, you have a lot of agency, but you don't have the most agency of any Modern deck. And by agency, I mean the ability to decide what to do, basically, from turn 1. I played a lot of blue-black Murktide. He went up to 4, so he can counter Subtlety now. With his Subtlety. A little bit of a bummer. But he was going to do this anyway. I'm going to put it on the bottom. I'd like to draw an Island Walk Lord. I think that would pretty much end the game. Another land also allows me to double spell. All right, so what I'm going to do is attack with Spayloon, draw the card. If he double blocks, I'll bounce something with Otawara. Okay, Stalin has Indestructible, so if he blocks with that, which I think he will, I can do the trick I talked about earlier. Anyway, I was playing a lot of blue-black Frogtide, and that deck, it has so many good cheap spells that basically starting on turn 1, you almost always have the opportunity to dictate how the game goes. And once again, I'm going to leave up my flash creatures and also Otawara. You don't always have that ability. Sometimes you do. Like with Subtlety, Force of Negation, Flare of Denial, and then sideboard cards like Flusterstorm, which has been now totally replaced by Consigned to Memory. You do a lot of the time have the opportunity to dictate how the game goes, but it's not always. I would say maybe like 60% of Merfolk games, 50 to 60%, you have a good amount of agency, and in the rest of games, you don't. One, two, three, four, five. This puts me to 8, which, depending on what happens next turn, could be a lot. So I'm going to try to block his Harbinger of the Seas, which will also free up my Mutavault. He has another Subtlety. And once again, I'm going to bottom. I guess I could block with that anyway. Stalin will lose Indestructible. For now. There's a pointless Aether Vial. Maybe I should have been bottoming. Or I should have been topping these creatures just to cast them again. So if I play Otawara Soaring City, I should, or if I play Harbinger, I should also play Otawara. I'm doing this to give Swayloon Indestructible for this turn. He has no cards in hand, though, so he doesn't have a block that finishes her off. This can't be countered, so he activates Mutavault. It's going to just become an island again anyway. Or does it stay a creature? Yeah, it stays a creature. Play. And now I attack with Stalin. Draw a card. I sure talked a lot of trash for someone that could barely beat someone who got Aether Vial flooded. If I win. He prevents the damage. And once again, I'm just going to hold up Tiebinder. He's taking a lot of time. Always yield. I guess I did too. And this should be a free win next turn. Maybe I'm too results oriented. He attacks with both his flyers, indicating he's planning on blocking somehow. Tiebinder doesn't have reach or flying, so no point in playing it now. On his end step, I'll flash it in. This looks kind of terrifying. It looks like this whole like Egyptian village is just getting taken out. Or it wouldn't be Egyptian. It would be like Aztec or Incan or Mayan, thematically. All right, we win the game finally. What do we want? I don't want Spreading Seas. I don't think I want Harbinger. Maybe I do want Spreading Seas. I want this creature. I don't want Lord of Atlantis. I don't want Chalice of the Void. That's pointless. I need to bring in 4 cards. I don't have any removal here. And Consigned to Memory, I can't get an Ether Vial with it because I'm going to be on the draw. Bring in Flare, Harbinger. Not sure what to do here. I don't have much of a sideboard for this matchup. I think it just comes down to whoever draws the best mix of creatures and removal spells. So this has 2 lands. I can't really cast anything. I'm going to mulligan, banking on the extra card that I get to be good. And yes, this is much better. Definitely don't need 2 flares. Keep. Maybe I do need 2 flares, but can't be sure. Caverns on Merfolk. Starts on Aether Vial. See, I couldn't have gotten that with Consign. Maybe on the play I'll bring... If I end up on the draw next game, I'll bring it in. Yeah, now I just play one of these. Tapped. And ship the turn. I almost have this deck built in paper. The only thing I need, actually, is the filler creatures. I really just need the Lords and additional Voldaren Hexcatchers. Yes, all the Lords. The only thing I don't have is the Lords. There's another Aether Vial, so our opponent's Aether Vial flooded again. Versus us with no Aether Vials. That face went. Do I want Mutavault in play? Yes. So their first threatening creature is getting taken out. If they are to Tideshaper my Mutavault, I would be okay with that. Opponent does nothing. I'm going to play Spheloon here before they get to hard cast Subtlety mana. And now if he has anything truly heinous, I can sack with to Flare of Denial. However, I doubt he's got any spells that are good enough that would make me do that. Okay, opponent has a pretty good turn there. But as soon as I untap, I can take out that Master of the Pearl Trident. And I can play an Otawara to pay for it through a Hexcatcher. Even though killing the Hexcatcher would also be kind of good. There was an argument to not playing this island. I didn't think about it for very long. But there was an argument to just playing Otawara. I'm used to just hanging on to the spell lands for obvious reasons because they're spells. But shutting off Island Walk might have been the right thing to do there. So now he's turned this into a good sack target for Flare of Denial. And at this point, now I've played the island, there's no going back. He could have... The only thing that punishes this is if he has Mystical Dispute. Something else I can do is on his turn, sink into Stupor the Unable to Scream, Dismember, Master, block Voldaren. So he could have Mystical Dispute. I don't think he's playing that card. It would be good in this matchup, but I don't think he's playing it. Good. There's another pointless Aether Vial. I think I'm going to go for that line. This looks like an innocent Dismember right now. And then sink. Unable to Scream. I'll block. He'll need to play a Lord before damage. Otherwise, he can't even finish off Stalin with this Unable to Scream. Yeah, nice. He dismembers. So I 2 for 2'd him there. Really, like, yeah, that's basically 2 for 2. I don't know. Someone needs to add that up and tell me who lost that exchange. It felt pretty even. I do need a creature, though. Don't need Force of Negation. That probably shouldn't be in the deck. Merfolk. Okay. And unfortunately, now I sit here and I take it. He didn't play anything, so he's got a bunch of he's got 1 subtlety in hand, I think. Either that or he just has a land in hand, because he didn't do anything, and he had Aether Vials on 2 and 3. Or no, he had Aether Vials, yeah, on 2 and 3. This is looking like an L, this game. I need to bring in more, I need to get rid of these Force of Negations. Not sure why it's still in the deck. He does not attack, so he doesn't have a subtlety. He's worried about me having a subtlety or a Tiebinder, and he doesn't have his own subtlety. So I guess his hand just stinks. I'll play Lord. No subtlety, nice. And now I'm threatening block with a 3/3 Mutavault. I would rather just hardcast this. Well, I can't hardcast the Flare of Denial. A little bit of a mistake there. He's got 2, 3, 4. So the only thing I'm going to Force of Negation now is removal spells. And if he gives me the opportunity to block, I think I will. Actually, I don't. No, I'll block the Voldaren Hexcatcher. I don't think I'll block the Mutavault. Because this is looking to me like he has another Lord. He didn't put a Lord in play, so maybe he doesn't. But he's got 3 cards in hand. And he didn't play a land. 3 cards, no lands. spend my colorless mana, kick a Tide Shaper, finishing off the Lord. No subtlety still. Finishing off the Aether Vial, I mean. Not the Aether Vial, the Mutavault. He didn't flash a Lord in last turn. But I'm still not going to attack. He could have flashed a Lord in when he hit me with Mutavault, but he could have also been trying to bait me into thinking he doesn't have one, so I make a bad attack, because he's ahead. Yeah, see? That's what he was doing. But, I mean, I'm still getting got pretty good. Dead in 2 turns here unless I find a removal spell, and it can't be Dismember. Need to find Unable to Scream. Not sure what I was thinking bringing in Flare of Denial and leaving a Force of Negation. We definitely have a sideboard plan to make. Need Unable to Scream immediately. He left in his Lord of Atlantises. So he's got a different theory about the matchup than I do. My theory is that you don't want them because you can't really predict whether you're going to have more creatures or not. Sometimes you just draw the non-creature heavy hands. Okay, so next turn what I can do is absolutely nothing, because if I Otawara Lord back to his hand before damage, he'll just play it again with Aether Vial. Floodpit's Drowner is pretty good. Otawara is pointless here because he can play everything. And now I'm leaving up Activate Mutable, attack, or cast Flood Pits. Let's see what he puts in play. It's got to be something. He can't have nothing. Can he? And by block with Mutavault, what I mean is block Lord of Atlantis. Because it doesn't have the ability. He sinks Tide Shaper. That actually gives me something that I can do with this Force of Negation. I'm shocked I was able to cast Force of Negation on a meaningful spell. The Aether Vial Brigade stays where it is. He goes up with 3 cards in hand. At the beginning of combat, I'm going to tap down his Island Walker. He goes to 4 lands, so he's got... If he for some reason casts the Subtlety, I realized I didn't leave up mana for Flare of Denial, but I wanted to leave up Aether Vial and Uncounterable. Floodpit's Drowner. This will probably be his Subtlety. He's been doing a lot of nothing over there. Wow, he had nothing. I can't believe it. Alright, I will open the chest for you guys. Chest. Open 1. 5 play points. All right. We're moving on up. Thanks for watching.